Hello students, today we will be starting squares and square roots for class 8 maths. So you know that a square of a number is nothing but the product of the number by itself. Like suppose if I say you what is the square of 4, so you will say 4 into 4, that is 16. Or if I ask you the square of 9, you are going to tell me 9 into 9 is 81. Now for example, I'll show you some more examples. Like suppose we are asked the 5 square, so that means 5 into 5, that is 25. Now you can easily remember the square up to 10, right? But the squares of natural numbers are generally the square numbers or perfect numbers. But all the square natural numbers are not perfect squares. So how do we check whether a number is a perfect square or not? So suppose I have the number 144 and I do the prime factorization of it. So you can see after solving I have got 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 3 into 3. So I can pair up the factors, means make groups of 2. And if all the numbers are in proper pair, like here I am having 2 pairs of 2 and 1 pair of 3, that means this 144 is a perfect square. And of which number is it a perfect square? So when I make it pair, so I write 1 2 for this pair, I write 1 2 for this, and I write 1 3 for this. That means 2 into 2 4, 4 into 3 is 12. So 12 square gives me 144. So you have to check whether a number is a perfect square by doing the prime factorization and checking the pairs are present or not. The same numbers have to be paired up. For example, if there was 1 3 less here, then we would not have been able to make it a pair. For example, I'll show you one more question so that you can understand whether it is a perfect square or how to check a perfect square. Suppose the number is 1152. So always use prime numbers when you are doing prime factorization. Now if you see this, you can see that 3 is in pair, 2, 2, 2, but 1, 2 is not having a pair. So 1 2 is left unpaired. So I can say that 115 cannot be expressed as the product of the pairs. So it is not a perfect square. So I am sure that you have understood how to calculate and check the perfect squares. Using the concept of the perfect square, questions may be a little twisted for you for class 8. Like find the smallest natural number by which 1008 should be multiplied to make it a perfect square. So first what you need to do is you need to find out the prime factorization of the number. So let us do that. So after doing the prime factorization, let us see whether we are able to make it into pairs. So you can see I can make the pair, but 7 is not having a pair. So what is the smallest number which you have to multiply so that it comes as a pair? If you have one more 7, then it will become a perfect square. So remember, here the answer will be 7. Similarly, you can be asked which number has to be divided. So you see, whichever number is not having a pair, that can be divided or that can be multiplied to make the number as a perfect square. Here the question is 243 a perfect square? Give reason in support of your answer. So always do the prime factorization. So as it is 3, we cannot divide it with 2. So we'll add the sum and check whether we can divide it with 3. So 6 and 9, yes. So 8 is 81. Now let us write the product. So again you see that 1 3 is missing. So is this a perfect square? No. So what is the reason that you are going to write? Since 1 3 is left unpaired, so 243 is not a perfect square. So I am very sure you have understood the normal questions how to be solved for the square and how to check the perfect square. Now I am going to teach you some properties which will make the understanding of perfect squares more easy for you. So starting with the first property of the square numbers, you can see it states that a number having 2, 3, 7 or 8 at its unit place is never a square number. So remember, if any number is given to you, just see the units place. If it is 2, 3, 7 or 8, then it is not going to be a square number. For example, if I tell you 2, 0, 3, 7, will it be a perfect square? No, because the units place is having 7 and 7 cannot be a perfect square. The next property is a number ending in an odd number of zeros is not a perfect square. For example, if I tell you 100, 100 has 1, 2, 2 zeros. So it is an even number. So yes, it can be a square of 10. But suppose I have 3 zeros, that is odd number, then it cannot be a square, perfect square. Going to the third property, it states that squares of even natural numbers are even and squares of odd natural numbers are odd. So if you see, suppose the square of 2, that is 4. Or if you see the square of 6, it is 36. So it's even. But if I talk about 7 square, it is 49. So it's odd. Or if I talk about 3 square, it is 9. So you will see that the square of the even numbers are even and the square of odd numbers are odd. Similarly, if a number is having 1 or 9 in the units place, you will see that the square is always ending with 1. So 1 square is obviously 1 and 9 square is 81. So the units place is 1. Similarly, if it is having 4 or 6 in the units place, so you can easily say that the square is going to end with a 6. If the number is having 2 or 8, then the units place is going to be 4 because 8 square is 64 and 2 square is 4. 3 or 7, if the units place is consisting of 3 or 7, then the last digit of the square will be 9. If the last or the unit place of a number is 5, then the square also will have 5 because like 5 square is 25, so 5 is there. And if any number is having units digit as 0 or units place as 0, then the answer will also be, the square of that number will also be 0. So these are certain properties of square number using which without solving you can tell whether a given number will be a perfect square or not. Let us solve some examples to understand it. So suppose you have a question in which it is asking you what will be the unit digit of these squares. You don't have to do the full multiplication of 502 into 502 and get the square. Just by seeing the units digit, as I told you in the previous part, that just by seeing the units digit you can tell what is this square's last digit. So 2 means it is going to be 4. See 7 is going to be 9. The square of this number is going to end with 9. 0 will end with a 0 and 6 will end with a 6. So the last digit of the square of these numbers are going to be these. So if you see the next question, it asks the square of which of these numbers would be even and odd. So how do we find out? You know that if you see the last digit, if that is a even number, the square is going to be even. So the result of this number is going to be even. And if you see the last digit of this number, you know it is 7. So it is definitely going to produce an odd answer. So the answer of this square will be odd. So by using the property, you see how we are able to solve the questions. We don't have to actually work out. So I'm very sure, my dear students, you have understood the basic concept of squares. We will be continuing with this very soon. Thank you for watching.